What it do, man? It's your boy Battle Truth coming to you live and direct from the Battle Truth headquarters. Let's get right off into this, man. Officer Tatum, one of Charlie Kirk's good friend, have the paperwork of the entire situation that went down with the death of Charlie Kirk to shut up all these conspiracy theorists, all these people making up all these lies, just getting YouTube money off him, trying to come up with any false narratives and conspiracies that they just being terrible with what they doing. Candace Owens, one of the main ones, if not the number one biggest one, using her reputation and past friendship from Charlie Kirk to actually slander, lie, ridicule, mock, bring shame to his name, his family, the organization, Christianity, and she is terrible. I'm glad this paperwork out because anybody been paying attention to the things she's saying, it literally exposes her from top to bottom of her believing that something need to run through her first, like she the one that actually have to be bought in to look at all the evidence. Like she's the factor and go-to person. No, not at all. So with no further ado, Officer Tatum, a black man who one of Charlie Kirk's dear friend, and Candace Owens, and I like how he just exposed her. I like how he exposed her, just killed her terribly. And anybody watching her should be on her heels, shaming her and literally holding her accountable to all the lies she been saying since that man got shot, who she claimed to be her friend, but can't show no text messages leading up to them having any conversation leading up to his death, because he wasn't even cool with her no more because of her attitude and arrogance and lying and things like that she doing. So she wanted to use his death, and she made out on a lot of money on that man's death. A lot of money on that man's death. But I guarantee you, she ain't gonna split the proceeds with his family, but using his name to line her pockets up. So with that being said, let's watch this breakdown, man. And I'm gonna open this up so y'all can read along with the paperwork. The real paperwork, the number up there and everything, where y'all could go see it yourself, type it up yourself, and it's going to expose every lie she been saying. So let me get this up out of here. Pop. Let me go here. Pop. So let's check this out, y'all.
Let's go down to the end of page 4, because on this document, right, you see this in the 4th District Court, Judicial District Court, Utah County, State of Utah. Case numbers here, information here, plaintiff is here, and then versus the defendant, which is this idiot. I don't like to say his name. And then it goes through, and this is pretty much the document that's submitted to the court of probable cause. What charges they're going to charge him with, right? These are the charges. These are the articulable reasons why each charge is going to be charged. And it's all there. So if you're going to speculate or want to know more about it, you need to read this stuff. Probable cause statement. The probable cause statement is the most important document that one can have, retrieve, or read as it relates to the shooting. This is the actual evidence that they are going to present, which they claim they have evidence of. You cannot fluff this, you cannot deviate from this, or you have no trial. So everything that you see when I read this probable cause statement, everything that you see here, they have the evidence of this that they present to court in their initial hearing. And they can't fluff it and say this and this is this without evidence. And I'm going to try to read it with you guys. Maybe I'll try to scan it. If Nick, you can follow along with me. I'm gonna start with probable cause statement. Brian Davis of the Utah State Bureau of Investigations have probable cause to believe that the defendant committed the above listed offenses, submitted the following evidence in support of the filing of this information. On September the 10th, 2025, at approximately 12:23 p.m., Mr. Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking at a large crowd on the campus of Utah Valley University in Utah. Counts 1 and 2. It says police found the suspect murder weapon, a bolt action 30-06 rifle nearby. Over the next approximate 33 hours, police conducted a manhunt for a shooter until the evening of September 11, 2025, when Tyler James Robinson surrendered to police at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun. Count 3. Discarded the clothing that he wore when he fired the rifle. Count 4. And told his roommate to delete incriminating text messages and not to talk to police. Count 6. Children were present at the time of the shooting. Count 7. Now, some people are saying the FBI lied because Charlie's kids weren't there. They're not charging him because Charlie's kids were there. They're charging him because there were children present. This is what you call throwing a book at somebody. When you have committed a crime in the presence of minors, that is an additional charge that they charge you with. There were people there who had kids, and in the presence of those kids, he committed these crimes. That's why he got charged with children being present. The shooting, I may not need to go through the whole shooting scenario. We can scroll through that part. That's pretty much mundane. I want to go through the surveillance, and I'm going to give this document so you guys can read it. I'm going to go through the surveillance investigation, right? Because this is an incredible part that a lot of people miss out on because they don't know exactly what the government is even saying against Robinson.
I'm going to stop there for a second. Notice what it says right here. Let me open this up a little bit. Notice it says the UVU surveillance investigation. Remember, Candace Owens was making a statement saying the Fed's been lying. UVU have absolutely no surveillance whatsoever of Tyler Robinson at all. In fact, he was never even on the campus at all. UVU have no evidence, no cameras, no video of Tyler Robinson anywhere on the campus at the time of Charlie Kirk's shooting. Remember, this lady is literally saying this, claiming to be a friend of Charlie Kirk's, claiming to be a Christian, claiming to want justice, knowing she's giving false information, knowing that the narrative she painting is from her own agenda by which she is using to line her pockets because she's an attention whore, loving the fact that people have gravitated to her channel as a result of Charlie Kirk's killing, believing that she was still friends with him but wasn't friends with him leading up to his death, but she making people believe they were. He was my friend, was past tense. And you could tell she still has some bitter resentment by which she used this man's death for her own criteria to actually shame him and his family and lie. So let's watch what the paperwork says pertaining to the UVU surveillance. And this actually is Officer Tatum exposing her for every lie she's been saying without happening to mention her name, even though he's talking about her, because she the one who was saying these things. Watch this though. Let's see what was on the UVU surveillance that she said absolutely had no type of recording whatsoever of Tyler Robinson.
the UVU surveillance investigation. It says at the moment of the shooting, UVU officer was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard a shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of its sound, he looked for potential sniper positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards away from Mr. Kirk as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. The suspected shooter position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspect's location, a person must climb over a railing and then drop to the roof only slightly below. The UVU officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked to the suspect shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between that position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings and gravel on the rooftop, consistent with a sniper having laid on the roof. Impressions of gravel, potential left by the elbow, the knee, and the feet of the person in a prone shooting position. This is what they're telling the courts with evidence. Okay, so they obviously took pictures of this prone position and they submitted this to the court as evidence. And obviously they got to submit this to the defense. Police reviewed the surveillance cameras covering the roof and discovered that the recording that it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway and dropped onto the roof on approximately 12:15 p.m. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the rooftop and then low crawling to the area of UVU officers recognized as where the suspect sniper had dropped into the prone shooting position. So they have evidence, video footage that they may not have showed the public, that they are showing the courts via this affidavit and probable cause statement, that they show him running to his shooting position and going and low crawling to a prone position. After the shooting, after a short time, which matched the known time of the shot, the individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast. This discovery led to an intensive review of the UVU surveillance recordings and attempted to track and identify the suspect. Surveillance revealed the following. At approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered a campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black shirt with an American flag in the center and a dark baseball cap and large glasses or sunglasses. Throughout the surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down and rarely raises his head enough to get a clear image of his face. As he proceeds across the campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walked with a very little bend to his right leg, consistent with a rifle being held in his pants. The unusual gait continued until the suspect is seen crossing the railing over the open walkway onto the roof, where he leaves the camera's view. Now, with that being said, they are articulating evidence of a camera that they have submitted to court. I haven't seen this video. They haven't released this video to the public, but they released it to the court, which will be visible from the judge and the defense attorney. A camera later captured the suspect running across the roof to the suspect's shooting position. Immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captured the suspect running across the roof carrying an item whose sharp or shape is consistent with the rifle. The suspect is then seen climbing down from the roof. He appeared to drop the item he was carrying as he hit the ground in a controlled fall. He then picked up the item and ran towards the northeast end of campus. Expanded crime scene. Law enforcement officers followed the suspect escape path to a northeast end of the campus, where they believe that the suspect left campus and entered into a wooded area. In the wooded area, investigators found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained one spent round and 3 unspent rounds. So this is what people need to understand, is that a spent round means that a bullet was fired from from the gun, but he did not eject the round. He left the spent casing in the round. I mean, inside the gun barrel. So what does that mean? They are submitted evidence of his DNA finger on the trigger of a gun that was fired with the shell casing still in the gun. So I don't know what anybody would think, but there's a spent casing in the gun. So that means that at some point his finger was on that trigger and shot a round out of that gun that left the spent casing in it.
Let me stop there for a second. So right there, once again, so they definitely have camera footage of him going on the rooftop and leaving the rooftop and following his escape route. Not only that, they actually have the weapon that was used with his DNA on the trigger and a spent round still lodged inside of the weapon. Remember, it was only one shot. 3 rounds wasn't shot. 1 round is shot, still in the gun with his fingerprint on it. That right there killed all these people lying. All this. Oh, his mic exploded. Oh, he got hit from the back by somebody from the other side. Oh, why Charlie Kirk and them family ain't speaking out? Because they knew this truth. They don't have to put it on YouTube. They don't have to share it with Candace Owens, who's an enemy to the family, who's an enemy to the movement. They don't have to share with these people who laughing, celebrating his death, having no empathy for a mourning wife along with her children, who mocking and going against Christ. That's why they not saying nothing. That's why they quiet, because they know the truth. While the internet trying to figure out what's the truth that's already been clearly shown, and people want to use it to just get money and checks and build channels and get views. This is why she didn't have to do all that. This is why they ain't been saying nothing, because they already knew the truth. They already knew this. This was already told to them. This was already explained to them. That woman is in direct contact on phone with the President of the United States. She can call him anytime she wants to, and he's going to answer. And because of that, he made it his business. He was going to put the right team in play to get on top of this to get answers. And that man was arrested in one day. Hold on. It get worse. So this is killing everything she been saying. Oh, Israel killed him. Oh, Israel has something to do with him. They had Charlie Kirk under pressure. Then 2 days later, 48 hours later, when he was going to bring me in to bring me to Turning Point, he get murdered. Shut your dumb ass up. Shut up. Liar. I ain't got no respect for that woman, man. That lady is terrible. She is evil as hell, and his death literally exposed her for the evil, wicked, Jezebel spirit lady she have. That's exactly what she have. A Jezebel, hating, murdering, lying, seductive spirit. Let's listen to some more.
This is consistent with the fact that officers observed at the time, immediately after the shooting, no shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting that a bolt action rather than an automatic loaded weapon, and only a single round was fired. And why would you use a 30-06 and not eject the round? Because you don't want to leave evidence at the crime scene. Okay.
No, another reason why he didn't eject the round, because when he pulled the trigger and saw that it hit him and all the blood, he got paranoid. He just actually carried out this hit. his mind going everywhere, all the crowd breaking out in a frenzy. He know he got to get the hell up out of there because even though he have a murdering thought, and even though he may have murdered his own spirit by being a homosexual, so you killed your true nature and identity of who you was when God brought you into this world. So he now carried out a physical act of murdering someone else, and it's all now hitting him at one time, and he knew he had to get the hell up out of there. And like I said, there's no such thing as a perfect murder. Okay, so now he panicking, now he freaking out, and he know he got to get the hell up out of there. He can't eject around because people breaking out everywhere, and he trying to go unseen.
And here's a little bit of the evidence of what was written on the gun or whatever. All this is submitted into the court. The rifle ammunition rounds and the towel were sent to forensic processing. DNA consistent with Robinson's was found on the trigger, other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casings, 2 of the 3 unfired cartridges, and the towel. Law enforcement officer was unable to immediately locate the shooter, so they published photos of the shooter from the UVU surveillance camera and asked for the public's help to identify him. Meanwhile, law enforcement continued to try to identify the shooter through other means. Washington County investigation. On the evening of September 11, 2025, law enforcement continued their investigation of Dum Dum when the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parent, hold on, let me see that. It says so the Dum Dum went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parent and a family friend to turn himself in. Robinson's mother stated the following to police. Now, I want you guys to understand this. This is recorded documentation that they submitted to court. I'm going to keep telling you this because they will not and cannot write in an affidavit or a probable cause statement that something happened that they do not have evidence of happening.
And while you at it, let's go a step further, because remember, Candace Owens talking about, oh, Tyler Robinson is innocent. He was nowhere on campus. He's innocent. Okay. We have the UVU surveillance, seeing him coming on the rooftop and leaving it. We have his fingerprint on the very gun with a fired round still lodged inside of it, with 3 rounds not. But hold on, this can get even more damaging to her. More damaging to her. Not only is this open and closed for the most part of who the killer is, obvious. One shot. Charlie Kirk was shot with 1 shot. 1 shot fired from the gun he's carrying with his fingerprint on it, with the shell casing still lodged inside of the gun. 3 shells not used. Now, watch this. How do you get around the next evidence? Go ahead, Tatum.
So it says Robinson's mother stated the following to police. On September 11, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. Now, they're not going to say, and I'm just telling you about evidence, they're not going to say that Robinson's mother called her son and asked where he was by taking her word for it. They are going to have electronic communication from her phone that's submitted into evidence of this actual phone call taking place. He said he was at home sick and that he also been at home sick on September the 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern that her husband, that the suspect shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. These are statements submitted to the court. So now we have, for all the conspiracies out there and people that are not reading this document that's old now, but these are testimonies from his parents. Okay, Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay, trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning his gender. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robertson and his father, who had very difficult political views. In one conversation between the shooter, Robertson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robertson said that was a stupid venue for the event. Robertson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Robertson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspect shooter on the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that the police suspected the shooter to use matched the rifle that was given to his son as a gift. This is his parents giving statements to law enforcement regarding this information here. As a result, Robertson's father contacted his son, asking him to send a photo of the rifle. They have electronic communication between the father and son regarding him asking him about the rifle. Okay. Robertson did not respond. However, Robertson's father spoke on the phone with Robertson. Robertson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robertson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. This is statements that were given to the police by Mr. Robertson or Robertson's dad.
Okay, so let's look into this. More exposing the Candace Owens lying. Oh, Tyler would never do this. His parents, I have a friend of mine who know the parents that said the parents never said this. Yes, the parents did say this, you liar. The court papers are getting it directly from the parents. The hell with your third party, okay? The parents said when they saw the photo of the shooter on the news, they recognized he looked like our son. They called their son like a parent would do, like, hold on, this person who just killed this dude looks just like you. Did you do this? Then he began to not only confess, but also want to kill himself because he don't want to go to jail. Remember Candace Owens? Tyler never is suicidal. He never wants. What's crazy when she make these damn statements? How could you say this on a person you never met, you don't know, and you just heard about because he's called the suspected shooter? And you saying what he never did, what he never thought of, what he never would do, as though you are a part of the family, as though you know him. When the parents are literally saying, hold on, not only that rifle, it's the rifle that my father gave you. It's the rifle that was a gift. So look at that. His family, his mama and dad handed him over. His mama and daddy, and called one of their friends, just like it was saying, who's a ex-police officer, to come help them, to talk to their son, to stop him from killing himself because now he don't want to pay for his actions that he just did. And since he had experience in this, he talked Tyler out of killing himself and convinced him to just turn himself in. But the mama and dad literally letting it be known, that's our son. And that gun, that's one of the missing guns that was stolen from the house. So kill all your conspiracy theorists, kill all your lies, and y'all should hold Candace Owens accountable for all the lies and make her get all that money she been making off Charlie Kirk with these lies. Make her give that money to the family. Make her give that money to Turning Point, and force her to issue an apology. Call her and hold her accountable to her actions, and call her out on her BS.
This is not conjecture. This is not conspiracy. This is documented evidentiary stuff that's been entered into evidence with the court that this is what the father had said. As they discussed the situation, Robertson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail, just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robertson explained there is too much evil in the guy.
Okay, right there. Now they have his confession. Robinson confessed that he did do it. He want to kill himself because he don't want to go to jail. He want to kill himself because he don't want to go to jail for the rest of his life. But he's facing capital murder. You ain't got to worry about going to jail. They're going to kill you anyway. You ain't got to worry about being there for the rest of your life. They're going to do it for you. You ain't got to attempt to take your own life. They're going to do it for you. So more lies from Candace Owens talking about how Tyler would never do this. Well, here's the people who were directly there involved, his mama and daddy in the the retired police officer, all witness to the conversation by which it is brought in as evidence. This is all evidence. So what? You didn't get it on YouTube. So what? They didn't put it on Twitter. So what? They didn't put it on Facebook. So what? They didn't put it on Instagram for you to continue to use and make other videos on it and continue to line your pockets up. They all knew the truth. Oh, why Charlie Kirk's wife ain't speaking out? Why she not saying this? Why she don't want justice for her husband? Why she ain't trying to? Because they already know the truth. They already know that he killed him. They already know. They already had all this information. And just because you ain't got it, you want to spin a narrative and lie.
Charlie Kirk spreading too much hate. This is what he said to his father that was given to the police. Testimony. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with his family friend, who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. So now you got the sheriff deputy, who was a friend, who is now testifying to this reality that the parents had consulted him or communicated with him to agree to get Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it was in his best interest, or it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he had did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothing in a different area.
Okay. These are his confessions. Yes, I killed him. Yes, I had those clothes on. Candace Owens. Oh, look, Tyler didn't have them clothes on. That's not even Tyler in the camera. That's not even him in the picture. I don't know who that person is. Well, his mama and them knew it was him. His mama and them knew it was him. He confessed that that was him. He confessed that he had the clothes and got rid of the clothes. He confessed to the shooting. And the mama on record giving it to the police, and the daddy on record giving it to the police, and the retired officer is on record stating it to the police. He done. He done. All y'all lying, wicked, evil, conspiracy theorists. If I'm Erica Kirk, and if I'm Turning Point, I will sue Candace Owens. I will sue her for all the lies, all the slandering. I will sue her. Hold on. Let's listen to some more.
The roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to police.
Right there. His boyfriend even sat him out and told it. His boyfriend even gave the police the phone with the messages.
So they contacted the roommate. The roommate gave over evidence to the police regarding the communication between him and Robinson. These statements that are given are evidence given or presented in the initial hearing, is going to be presented in the initial hearing before a judge. If anything that is said in here is not true or backed up by evidence, it is inadmissible in court and thrown out. I just want people to be aware of that. On September the 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robertson, which said, "Drop what you're doing, look under the keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, "I had the opportunity to take Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. That's another point of evidence that they have to submit to the court. The following text exchange then took place, okay? After reading the notes, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" And then we see the text exchange that everybody has been talking about, okay? And I want you to understand points here. Let's go up real quick. Or when you see, this is not, okay, just so you guys know, these are text messages. This is not a Discord message. So this is not appearing to the investigators, and they're extracting of the conversation. It's not appearing like this. It's in the phone, messages that were there, some messages that were deleted, that through forensic evidence they can extract. That's why you see the ... here and ... here, because they're skipping around and showing conversations here. They skip into this conversation and ... they're skipping to another conversation, and then they're skipping around to other conversations. So all of this is not one consistent direct conversation. These are skips in conversational text that they put together and put it on the form so you can see it. But this is not what they saw. They're recovering this from an actual cell phone.
And Tyler continued to, not only he already confessed, but he's explaining things that only the killer would know in graphic detail. That only the killer would know. So let's listen to some more.
And I think that everybody in America has probably looked at these text messages. I don't think I need to read them again. I think we all have seen these. I don't think there's anything new in this. But some people are saying he don't say the word vehicle and all this other stuff. And it's like, we got plenty of videos of him using the word vehicle when he's talking about a car. We got plenty of video of people who say nobody used the word vehicle and they using the word vehicle. You know, it's you know, I think people should just listen to it, let them explain it in court before you make a judgment. But for people saying nobody talks like this is not, most people aren't killers either. Most people aren't deranged enough to go and kill a person because they don't like what they had to say. Search of Robinson's residence. Let's look at that real quick. Police executed a search warrant of Robinson's residence. During the search, police discovered shell casings with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle near UVU. So when they got to his place, they found also other etchings at his house that were consistent with the etchings they found on the scene. Police also found several targets with bullet holes in Robinson's home. So that tells you that it appears that he was going target shooting and practicing. So they found targets with bullet holes in it. Can't say that for a fact, but it can be perceived that way based on the totality of circumstances. Count one, it says aggravated murder pertaining to Robinson's shooting and killing of Charlie Kirk, manner exposed others. Okay, these are just the counts of the murder. And then they end the affidavit this way. Now, why am I saying this? It's because I think people need to realize that there is a plethora of evidence. There are family members who told investigators that their son, they believe their son did this. Now, if you take just what's in the probable cause statement to trial, I think that this pretty much is an open and shut case.
I do too. My only thing is was he paid to do it? Because we know there was organizations out there that were targeting Charlie Kirk. One particular organization is called Arms for Queers, or Queers for Arms, where you have this homosexual movement of homosexuals who's armed with guns, and they are radicals who's actually on record going after Christians and conservatives, which Charlie Kirk was, a Christian conservative. So he was killed for his belief in Jesus Christ and going against their values of them trying to take over the government. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to overthrow the government. We see what they're doing when it comes to ICE now, removing the immigrants out. They're fighting against them when they're trying to do the right thing by protecting the government, trying to do the right thing by protecting the United States citizens, and they are against that. They are against that. And they trying to say that it's Charlie Kirk who was messing up the country. This is a Christian society. Y'all are messing up the country. Y'all are messing up the country. The country was built on Christian values and principles according to the word of God, the Bible. Those who wrote the Constitution wrote it according to the Bible, on the standards of the word of God. Not what y'all doing, murdering babies, calling it abortion, rewriting the sacredity of what real marriage is and what a man and woman is. Y'all are the ones that's trying to change what America is supposed to stand for. One nation under God, and to the individual by which it stand messing up that. Y'all are trying to actually be the one to rewrite history and try to make it your own, and trying to overthrow the government for y'all homosexual agenda. Another thing Candace Owens said, I need to play this part.
I don't think we've been a sovereign nation since they shot JFK. And when I say they, it's like people online say, what do you mean by they? I'm talking about Israel. I don't want you guys to read in between. I'm talking about Israel. So let's stop making that a taboo.
So she said Israel shot John F. K. It wasn't the person acting on his own. The nation of Israel shot John F. K. But she's supposed to be a Christian. Watch this though.
Subjects, because they've gone mask down. Everything they're doing is demonic. I want nothing to do with it. I will never support Israel into the future after what they've done to these children. The starvation campaign. I don't care. Please write your article. You've already written them all. I don't know what you could add about me. But I do not support Israel. And I don't think that Jewish Americans should support Israel. And I hope that they're now having those conversations. I see many of them recognizing that they have been propagandized into believing they have to support this demonic state.
Okay. First of all, this is what I mean by how evil this lady is. She says she don't support them after they starvation program or what they doing to those children. Talking about the war that's going on over there between the Muslims and the Jews. Because that's exactly what it is. Here's the thing, what they doing. They whitewashing the truth. And what's crazy about her making a statement like that is that she's a Catholic. So you don't want nothing to do with the Jews based upon what they so-called doing by depriving the children of their enemies food. When what you're not explaining is that those terrorist groups is literally occupying that land over there and murdering and killing and attacking Israel. They started that against Israel. Israel ain't started nothing against them. They started that against Israel. They're the ones setting up missile launches from hospitals and schools. And then when Israel find out where it's being targeted from, they don't have no choice but to take out those threats that's actually raining bombs over their city. Now, with that being said, you're not telling the truth and you whitewashing. You're whitewashing. They never speak out against Islam. Why are you not speaking out against Islam when they are the ones that's doing it? They vow to eradicate and destroy Israel. The purpose of them wanting nuclear missiles was to wipe off Israel from the face of the map. The Bible say that in Psalm chapter 83. When Jesus returned back to the earth, Jesus returning back to the earth warned against all the Islamic nations. Those nations are called Antichrist. Israel is the nation that God tells us to support. They are, whether you won't accept it or not. And it's modern day Israel too. The one that was in 1948 giving a land back, and they wasn't even giving all the land back. That's another thing. Jesus' purpose of returning to is to give them all the land that was promised them. All the land that was promised them. He ain't finna compromise with them other nations. They're going to be moved around. You may have a remnant that's remaining, but they're going to be wiped out. He don't care about nothing the UN say. He don't care about nothing you fake so-called Christians don't know nothing about scripture say about. None of that means anything. And this is the Israel of the Bible that he tells us not to speak against. And I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. They're fighting against the Muslims. You're trying to get the Muslims a pass. When the Muslims promise that whoever don't believe in Allah will be beheaded. Revelation chapter 13. The Bible is true. Your opinion don't mean nothing. Then you're saying, oh, what they doing to the children. What about what the Muslims doing to the children? What about all the rape and all the slavery and all the murdering? You're not addressing that. Tell the real truth. Who's really killing everybody? Who's the enemy of the world? The Muslims are. You going to go against God? You going to go against the word of God? Or do you even know it? No, she don't know it. What's the definition of Antichrist? In 1 John chapter 2, verse 22 and 23. What's the definition of Antichrist? Anybody who deny God is the Father and Jesus Christ his Son. What religion does that, Candace? What is the religion who deny God as the Father and Jesus as his Son? That's Islam. But the Bible says that is Antichrist. So the Antichrist is a Muslim. So when Israel is over there fighting against the Muslims, who you think actually fulfilling the prophecies? Hold on. You said you don't like what they doing over there to them kids by the starvation plan of not feeding the Muslim children, the Palestinian children from the Gaza Strip, the children, the terrorist children and people who they literally using. They doing that to their own people. They're doing that to their own people. Why are you not addressing that? Why are you not talking about that? They're doing that. They're starting these wars. They're murdering. They're killing. Why y'all never tell the truth about that? Why do you never tell the truth about that? You said you don't support them for what they doing to children, but you're a Catholic. You support the Catholic Church who murdered over 56 million Christians. You are Catholic and you support all the raping and killing that they've been doing to these boys and young girls. Yeah, because that's a historical fact too. And it's still going on today. Raping and molesting these children, having to pay out billions and billions of dollars worth of damages of what they done to little boys. But you embrace that. You embrace that. But you say you're against Israel, who's at war with Muslims, who's trying to murder and wipe them off the face of the earth. Because they're trying to stop prophecy from happening because Jesus had to return in Jerusalem on Mount Olives. Zechariah chapter 14, Acts chapter 1. You don't even know none of that. Talking about you don't support them, but you a Catholic. You support the Pope. You support the bishops and cardinals and all them raping these little boys, raping these young girls and killing them to hide the evidence. Girl, get out of here. Get your dumb ass out of here. You a liar. So as y'all can see, that paperwork exposed her on all her lies. She said that was not Tyler in the video. Tyler admitted that it was him and that he disposed of the clothes. She said that Tyler parents them never said that their son did that. The paperwork said that they did. And that's all in there. She said the UVU campus had no video of Tyler and that he wasn't even on the campus at all. In her word, never been to the campus. That was a lie because the UVU cameras showed that he was there. She said he never thought of committing suicide ever before in his life. That was a lie because if mama, father, and the retired police officer all vouched that he did say that. Everything she said was a lie. Everything. And she need to be held accountable for that. She need to be called out on that, and she need to return all the money that she's been making off of Charlie Kirk's death and lying and hand it over to his family and children in Turning Point USA. That's what she need to be held accountable for doing. That lady is evil. She is a liar. She is a deceiver. She is not a true born-again Bible-believing Christian. She are enemy to the living God. Sitting up there trying to make a smear campaign against Israel, but you a coward and won't speak out against Islamic extremists. And what the Bible clearly say, that if the Muslims who's going to take over the world in the last days, murder and kill people, behead anybody that do not worship Allah and accept the Antichrist, who is they Mahdi, they Mahdi. You don't even know about this stuff. She a fraud. She trying to play both sides so that she can keep lining her pockets up. That paperwork just exposed her and everything she been talking about. She ain't gonna read it. She ain't gonna go through the paperwork. She ain't gonna issue an apology. You owed an apology to the FBI because you lied on them. You owed an apology to your supporters because you've been lying to them. You owed an apology to the Kirk family. You lied to them. You owed an apology to Officer Tatum, who you betrayed his friendship to, just like you did Charlie Kirk's. You owed an apology to their children. You owed an apology to Turning Point. You owed an apology to the living God. You owed an apology to the nation of Israel because you tried to say it was Israel who had something to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And that paperwork do not validate, substantiate, and support you in any type of way at all. You are a liar. And the Bible is clear. All liars will have a part in the lake of fire. You got a wicked, evil, Jezebel spirit. You are a narcissist woman who is so arrogant, so prideful, resistant, and rebellion to the point where you think you could just say anything and it don't come with any consequences behind your actions. You fake. You fake to the core. And that was the truth, y'all. She can't get around none of that. That paperwork exposed everything she's been saying. She is not a true journalist who actually carry facts. She paints false narratives to do smear campaigns, shock value, so that she can line her damn pockets up. She is an internet YouTube attention whore. That's what she is. That's what it is. You are attention whore. You try to do anything to get the attention, and you will say whatever you have to do to keep the limelight on you. Get up out of here, man. That lady evil as hell. And I'm glad that paperwork out now. And I'm glad her video's up so it can actually just tear down everything she's been lying and saying. Jealous. You a jealous, wicked, envious woman. With that being said, it's your boy Battle Truth. It ain't my judgment that's in question. It's yours.
Listen, no streets for you. So leave me waiting on you. Listen, no streets for you. So leave me waiting on you.